Here comes the news with a twist and a grin. Steve and Alan diving in again. Almost daily, but always sharp. He'll hit your brain like a lightning spark. Steve and Alan, almost daily. Laughs and facts, served up plainly. Your dose of wit, it's never shady. Steve and Alan, almost daily.
Hello and welcome to another Stephen Allen Almost Daily. We're on, baby. The live stream on a day of doubles. Maybe you know about this already. The audio-only version based on the radio show that I do. Why not do them on the day when we do live stream? So there's 15 minutes of other news getting covered. We're not overlapping on the same stories that you can find on the podcast stream. And now you're here for this. You actually might be listening to this on the podcast stream as well. Oh well, so there was a previous podcast. But if you're in the live stuff, let's do this. On youtube.com, whatever it is, people in the comments section already, Joodles, saying congratulations. Thank you, because I was here first. I commented first. I win that one. Proper Memes says, back once again with the ill behaviour. Yes, and also Proper Memes, the source of the audio production that will be featuring towards the end of today's podcast. The production values have gone up, which might not be that difficult given what we started with. Then again, I'm not beating myself up about the quality of live stream production quality. You know what I mean? It's not bad, is it? It looks like I've put some effort in. That is clearly not just a ring light for me to do Instagram stuff to. Double Steve's Burger, says Proper Memes. That is a sexual image, isn't it? Two Steves at once. Before we get into the front pages, actually before we get into the newspapers where the desk cam will be featuring my fingers, they're dirty again. It's an update. I did get the car repaired. It did pass its MOT. Brilliant. I ain't faffing around with headlights anymore. I ain't going to get dirty fingers. My bike had a flat. Actually, no, it had a slow puncture. So I did manage to get to where I needed to go this morning, but I tried to stop at the train station because they got one of those pump things. I couldn't get the darn thing to work. So I got dirty fingers, but still a flat tyre, which feels like the perfect metaphor for my morning so far. But we're into the afternoon now. Simple Charlotte says, early check-in. I know the words to your intro song already, Steve. It's catchy. It is, and you can thank AI for that. At some point, the AI will do this bit as well. And everyone will just be happier. Right, so keep your comments coming through in the comment section on YouTube. I think I've plugged all the stuff we need to. Let's get into it. The front pages. I'm not doing loads of front pages, not because I'm like being dismissive. All of the front pages are talking about the release of the hostages, and I don't want to do like snide comments. And I know what I'm like. You give me a front page and the tendency for me to improv, I'll say something snide. I don't want to be doing snide. So Trump lets a Ukraine war is the headline I thought I could go with. Because you've got to think to yourself, calm yourself, man. All right, yes, you've done well. He's apparently ended 7 wars. You can't name all of the countries involved, but that's a lot of countries. That's probably 14 countries. I'm not an expert on a war, but that's probably 14, isn't it? If there's 7 wars. I suppose you can have a 3-way. More on that later. Bonnie Blue's featured in today's show. And there was another story as well. Labour blames Powell's Jr. for collapse of the China spy trial. This is the one that I did think we could do something. There's no way. We need to be able to zoom into the sides. Can't, can we? Prostate screening could save thousands of lives for £18 a head. And I just want to say, if they're checking your head to see if you've got an enlarged prostate, they're either not a good doctor, they're afraid of bottoms, or they're going the long way around. Either one of those 3 options feels like a bad thing. I'm not a medical expert, but your prostate is not in your head, unless you've got really bad posture. So there you go. You're up to date on that. We got the front page of the Times. This was going to be me at least just saying, I'm not going to do jokes about it, because it's just great. Release of hostages, the ceasefire, these are things we've wanted. I could be snide about this. I unmasked the real girl with a pearl earring inside the Times too. That would be a pointless headline anyway, but to juxtapose it with 2 years of torment over as hostages finally reunited with families, I added finally, but you know what I mean? The biggest news in the world, and someone's there going, you know that girl in the pearl earring that you'd forgotten about? Found out who it was? Wow. No one would care anyway, but they really do not care now. So there's your front pages. That's all we're going to do. We'll get inside. There's loads inside the newspapers. We can crack in on that. So let's start. Here we go.
Let's get inside the news.
I've moved across. Hi, how you doing? So, in the news today, I've been through some of the newspapers. I prepped this show before I went out to my flat tire meeting, so I hope I can remember what I was going to do with some of these stories. Zoom in. Blood drive for youths. Another headline that doesn't really make much sense. This is an interesting one. No, that's wrong. I'm on the wrong thing. I'll read out the headlines again. Here we have. There's my zoom. I've got a zoom in screen over here. People applying for a driving license will be encouraged to become blood donors. I mean, good. And I know there's already like a system for being an organ donor. That's the one for young drivers. You really want to make it that young drivers have to be organ donors. If there's one thing we know about young drivers, more likely to crash. If there's one thing we know about where you get your organs from. Do you know what I mean? It's dark, it's sinister, but it's market forces. So great. I mean, be a blood donor, but they're more likely to need blood, but they're more likely to give organs. Is that awful? Not doing those puns. There's already a bad enough pun later on, so we don't need to come up with more of them now. Proper Meme says, never mind the earrings. What about the girl with the pearl necklace? Bonnie Blue, you're right. She's featured in the show. She's not on the next story, though. I was worried about even mentioning her on the show. Is that the kind of thing that gets these videos shadow banned or stealth smattered or whatever they call it? We'll find out, won't we? Look at it. There's a woman. Buckingham. Buckingham. Wine bucket, more like. Oh, why am I punning so badly today? Scooter Drunken Danger, which is a kid's cartoon. No, it's a drunken woman who drove a mobility scooter the wrong way up a dual carriageway has been prosecuted under a little-used Victorian law. And I would just like to say, well done, Victorians. That was very prescient, wasn't it? Because I wouldn't have thought they would have come up with laws about mobility scooters. They did a lot. They gave us the London Underground. They invented, name it. It was all the good stuff we did as a nation was back there, wasn't it? Not all the good stuff. I don't want to get cancelled, but you know what I'm saying. So she was guzzling a bottle of wine when she was pulled over on a busy road. Cops received a string of calls. She would do the old joke about the bloke calls his wife, and the wife says, "You want to watch out. You're on the M1 tonight. I've heard on the news there's a driver going the wrong way." And he says, "Just one? There's loads of them." He's the guy going the wrong way. So I can't deliver actual jokes today, but I can do terrible puns. Maybe this is not the day for this. What else have we got going on? Should we find the Bonnie Blue story? I don't want to keep you waiting as much as she did. What was it? 1,057 blokes that she got to know on her record. I mean, I imagine, was the first or the last one Norris McWhirter? Because to make the official record a record, dedication's what you need. Back in the day when he had a twin, they could have well, definitely going to get this video taken out. There she is, Bonnie Blue. I buttered a shark. For those listening on the podcast, not the video, that's not as in I spread butter on a shark. Although, wouldn't put it past her. Bonnie Blue headbutted a shark while free diving in the Maldives. The infamous adult content creator, 26, was enjoying the waters in the South Asian nation when she had run in a shark. She said in an interview, "I recently went to the Maldives and headbutted a shark by mistake." Because she meant to blow it. Oh, no, I'm sure she wouldn't. If ever there's someone who wouldn't accidentally headbutt you when trying to do something else, it's her. She knows her way around, doesn't she? Something about blowholes, although sharks aren't mammals, are they? So she would have been there all day. But yeah, she said, "I tried to swim down on my way back. I didn't notice a shark and I headbutted it." That shark's got a story to tell his mates, hasn't he? Woohoo! You never guess who I headbutted. Imagine if that's what that shark was queuing up, thinking, "I heard the news story. When does her go?" 3 years jail for taps rap theft. That's harder to say than it should be, shouldn't it? A serial thief who stole £16,000 worth of taps from B&Q has been jailed. It feels like there's a pun here. You know what I mean? Tap being both a noun and a verb. They're in syncs. Sync is also, there's two spellings of it. It feels like there's a pun, but I don't want to force it. Okay. That was my pun that I prepared for today's show. No? Okay. Proper Meme says the traffic is so bad nowadays with so many drunk drivers on the roads, you'd have to be crazy to drive sober. Not that we're saying that woman's crazy, although I think she also probably wasn't sober when she went to the hairdressers. Shall we go back and find the picture again? Yeah. She's blue, but not Bonnie. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if you've got the wrong cue. I'm here for the record-breaking love-making attempt. Got the wrong cue. You get the front and there's wine, Buckingham with a bucket of wine at the front. Ugh. But then again, if you spent that long queuing, you wouldn't want to not. Judel says, waiting for Greta's hostile takeover of Bonnie. Or is Greta not doing wildlife anymore? Do you reckon that's why Bonnie Blue should be taken down? Because she headbutted a shark. Greta's going to turn up there with her flotilla. Hard up zoos on market. This honestly is a weird story. Hundreds of animals are up for sale after 2 zoos hit money difficulties. It's not shocking to presume that the zoos aren't doing as well. Some people don't want to go to zoos because it's like an animal prison, like Animal Shawshank. And I guess money everywhere's struggling. Pubs are shutting down, right? But if a zoo hits hard times, they didn't realise they flog the animals. Because some of you're not allowed to keep these animals. I don't want people down my road having an elephant in the back garden. Newquay Zoo in Cornwall, which is home to 850 creatures, has been put on the market by owner Wild Planet Trust. There's also one in Devon as well up for sale. So I'm just thinking, if you live in that area, I wouldn't go to any local takeaways for a while. Just the kind of place that on the menu just says meat. Do you know what I mean? When I used to live in Finchley, there was a place that had a meat balti. We were like, what kind of meat is this? Oh, it's balti meat, they say. Okay. Not sure if it's still like that in Finchley. You had great times back in the day. We should do some big news before we move too far into this. Keir's a sellout. Sir Keir Starmer pottery Toby jug costing £30 have already completely sold out. And I don't know who's designed these. I don't really care. Well, it says the PM design's been... There you go. Someone in Stoke-on-Trent. Look at this one up here. You could also flog that as West Streeting, couldn't you? That's not that Keir Starmer-ish. It's a little bit West Streeting-ish. You could flipping Mo Molem some of that. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit vague. I think it's absolutely fine if you want to make money. The firm's already run out of on its website, but Keir fans, good to know there are some, can still get one from the Houses of Parliament online shop with limited edition 11-centimetre jugs, which I've actually bumped into Keir Starmer, and that's not that far off his actual height. There he is, little cheeky chappy. It looks nothing like Keir Starmer, does it? It looks absolutely fat controller vibes, more like. What's happening in the comment section? Jula says, what? They flog them? To whom? Firstly, round of applause for Joodles being the first one in the comment section using the correct objective, subjective form of that pronoun. We're all about pronouns on this show, just not in that annoying way, just actually getting objective and subjective ones right. And possessive, of course. And what, actually, is a pronoun, isn't it? It's an interrogative one, or whatever they call it. You don't get this in other streams. You get a good backdrop and way too much detail on grammar on this streams. And that is why we have barely 8 people watching. Also, I don't call people on TV fat. I believe that helps the number of viewers to your live stream. Do you know about that story? Maybe we'll talk about it later. Martin's here, says afternoon all. Pub goers ditch lager and crisps. Pub goers, they say a lot, don't it? Are swapping beer and lager for trendy green tea. Oh, God. Matcha. Powdered green tea leaves. Powdered green tea leaves. Eat shoots and leaves. Whisked into water or milk is fast making its way onto the pub menus. Oh, God. Firstly, if you what? Hang on. If you're going to have green tea, just have green tea. It's annoying enough that you're having green tea, but you're doing this matcha thing. I was in a coffee shop when I was on holiday, and some really annoying person walked in, and you could tell she was annoying by the fact that she made her own jewellery. Do you know what I mean? You know, she spends far too long knowing all the different minerals. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot. We studied minerals at university, but I knew the difference between like a body center cubic lattice of rock salt, and she'd know about amethyst is good for the energy to do with bringing fortune in. No, it's not. Face center cubic one, that's a great lattice structure. There are only, was it 7 different types of crystal structure? I know that. She's got opal fruits. That's not a thing, is it? don't like the sound of this ditch lager, says Martin. That's true. That's the worst one of all the lagers, made from a ditch. Another word for that, of course, is... Well, let's not get down that. Matcha the Day with Gary Lineker, says Proper Memes. It is the Terrible Pun Show. I'm going to retitle this one, The Terrible Pun Show. I just can't help thinking that if you drink green tea, stay away from pubs. Stay away from people. Don't know why I've woken up on the wrong side of the bed. Probably I've had too much green tea. There's quite a lot of caffeine in green tea as well, isn't there? These people think that, you're drinking coffee. That's not healthy, is it, having coffee? I'm going to have matcha. What, because of all the caffeine? Big pile of stupid. TV box looking dodgy. People who use dodgy TV boxes have been warned they could lose thousands of pounds. It's good to have this one in general. If you get obsessed with someone's box, it could cost you a bit more money than you expect. But this is talking about cybersecurity. You get these fake ones that you plug into the telly. And cybersecurity specialists here, Christian Espinoza. No way is that your real name. That's a made-up surname to make you sound more like a spy, isn't it? You're a security chief and you give yourself the surname that's like espionage? No, I'm not falling for it. So that they can leave the viewers vulnerable to fraudsters. Well, I suppose you've put something on the inside of your network. So what you should do is get your router, and on there you can set up a guest account, which separates it out from the rest of your local area network. Do that, log into the Wi-Fi on your guest account, you'll be safe. Yeah, it's not all silly puns. Sometimes I do know my way around some of these things. Cheaper than Ozempic. Well, the ditch coffee. Yeah. And everyone's having a chat in the comment section now. What else we got going on here? Well, we're talking about online things. Online help for parents. According to the news today, parents are turning to social media for advice on raising their children. That might be the stupidest idea I've ever heard. What's the one area where children aren't safe, and what's the one thing you need to keep your kids safe from? Social media answers. And you're going to the internet to work. This is like getting advice on how to raise your kids from priests. Actually, people used to do that back in the day, and it was not a good idea. You are going to the heart of the problem for advice on how to avoid the problem, you fools. Also, I'm willing to look up a YouTube video on how to swap out the ball cock in the cold water tank. That's what I did in the last place, the last house that I owned. We had a problem with the cold water thing. Had to swap out the ball cock. Tried Googling it. You don't want to Google ball cock. You don't want to Google stopcock. You don't want to shout to your Google device stopcock either. Tickle myself again. But I don't mind watching an instructional video on how to do some low-level DIY, but don't raise your children based on what idiots on YouTube. I'm on YouTube, for crying out loud. Don't listen to any advice that I've got other than the advice of separating out your local area network between your actual private one and one that's accessible for guests and devices you don't trust. If you wanted to get a second router, you could do the same, but no. Steve's free TV help. Is this the show? I am available to do that. If anyone's got any questions, if you've got any agony aunt style questions, put them in. We'll answer them at the end. We'll answer them badly, but we will answer them. Agony aunt Steve solves your problem, says Proper Memes. Yeah, okay. And then Alany aunt is the suggestion by Martin. It was my fault for starting out the puns. Can't really judge anyone for it. Stop tickling yourself. There are other streams for that, says Martin. If I actually I have an OnlyFans account, because when we were doing live streaming during the lockdown, we thought I wanted to broadcast on there, but I never got around to it because you had to give them your credit card details if you want to earn money on there. And I felt weird about giving my credit card details to that website. But now it means if anyone searches to see if my username's taken, it looks like I'm on there. But that's my excuse. Speaking of which, oh, that's magic. Debbie McGee says she has men queuing up to whisk her off her feet. But the widow of magician Paul Daniels says none have made it past the friend stage. Didn't ask for that detail. It's up to you. Knock yourself out. In fact, you know what? I'm not sure I believe her. She says, I've had romantic offers, says Debbie, 66. I just haven't got involved with people romantically or in a very long-term relationship. Not ruling out the old wham bam, thank you, ho ho. I've had lots of very nice male friends who take me out, but I haven't actually said that's my boyfriend. No, you're allowed to be I'm trying to think which word I could shout out that wouldn't get flagged on YouTube. Ho! Can you do that one? It's up to you, isn't it? Look, we aren't living in a world where you get judged for having sexual partners. As we said the other day, the modern way of dating and flirting, young people use this phrase body count. What's your body count? And it means how many people have you slept with? And I did not know that until after I'd talked to this woman. And I went home and Googled it. And now I'm upset that she thinks I've only slept with one person when I was drink driving. That still, it's got to be a joke. I'm going to make that work as a joke. It's not quite there yet, is it? I'll try it at the open material night on Wednesday. Weird use of a whisk, says Martin. Well, depends what you're into, doesn't it? Back on that website we were talking about, people will love that. Like the Thundercats, says Joodle. I can't remember what that's referring to. Anything with a Mum-Ra reference? Yes, I do like the Thundercats. And what was I going to say this? Oh, yes, we're not here to judge Debbie McGee's level of sexualness. No one's going to judge you for it. Literally, we know your last husband sawed you in half, which, don't knock it till you've tried it. Ho ho! There is a joke about Paul Daniels receiving some sort of pleasure, and he says, "Oh, that's magic." And I can't remember the full details of the joke, but we all know where it goes. What's this one? Oh, this one. I don't even know why I included this one. I got nothing on it, but it's just news for you. Eating peppermints can increase alertness in people who have colds. Why would you want to be more alert when you've got a cold? Literally, you take the night nurse stuff to knock you out, don't you? Martin, we've got another Martin, says she's gone right off a magic wand. Oh, not a lot. Something about now you see it, now you don't. There's that joke as well, isn't there? Oh, can't do it. What else we got going on here? Oh, I was on Times Radio over the weekend, and they send more stories than I get to talk about because we run out of time. So there's always more prep, and I'm trying to write those up in Substack, details later. But this was one of them. Sumo. Well, Sumo's coming to the UK. Sumo fans are being warned they might get squashed if they sit on the front row at an upcoming fight. Same deal with the whole Bonnie Blue thing, I imagine. But organisers have told fans the risk is theirs alone if they sit at the front. Maybe just move that front seat back then. It feels like you why are you putting seats in the squash zone? The mosh pit, which I believe is one of the fighters. So we've got more than 40 of Japan's top sumo stars will battle it out over 5 days at the competition in London from tomorrow. And the story we were covering on the weekend, would have covered, was they had to get special sand from Kettering, has been found to have the right consistency. And we're all excited. And I put forward the theory that in the future, all sports will be sumo. We're getting fatter, aren't we? We know as a nation, people are getting fatter and fatter. At some point, the only sports we will have, sumo and darts. And that seems like solid logic. Also, I did write a newspaper column recently about the fact we're all getting fatter and fatter, and research says that it means more people will snore and more people will get sleep apnea. And you should see the amount of hate I've been getting. I've been getting some hate mail from sleep apnea sufferers who are very upset. This happens sometimes. If you make jokes about a condition, people just are annoyed that you deign to even mention their condition. And I did it before when I was joking on talk radio about misophonia, the condition that people have where they can't stand certain sounds, often breathing or eating. And my theory on that is the idea, if my partner said to me, "Oh, I hate the sound of you eating," what am I going to do with that? Not eat? I need food more than you need to moan about the noise of me eating. So it's on you. And I got some hate mail from that. Some bloke sent a very nasty tweet. And I thought it was funny that he was a misophonia sufferer and he didn't like what he heard, because that's the definition of the disease. But they didn't like me saying that on social media. But yes, I've upset the sleep apnea crowd. I'll be safe. You can hear them coming a mile off the wheels on the thing. Esports, if you can call it a sport, hashtag hot takes. Yeah, watching other people play computer games. I'm not sure that's fun. Why don't you just play a computer game yourself? Even playing a computer game is one level down from doing the thing. Driving a car, pretending to drive a car on a computer game, sitting there watching someone play a computer game. Again, we can make the analogy with Bonnie Blue. Sleeping with someone, watching the pornography, but watching someone else watch the pornography? Is that what you're into? Because that I could do on YouTube. Proper Meme says they won't lose sleep over it. All right, we're adding that one to the list. Lovely. You're going to get me such hate mail from those people. Did you see what Lewis said the other day live on air? I did. I then watched his live. This is why his live stream figures have gone up, because he called a fat person fat. But the debate wasn't. At least I was talking about sleep apnea and weight gain, or I was talking about sumo and mentioned fatness. There is an overlap of a Venn diagram there. There's an overlap of thighs and a Venn diagram. Now I've warmed up. I started the show very badly, but now I've warmed up. Yes, he's mentioned it already. Yes, I did watch the thing. He was talking about Gaza and somehow insulted someone's weight. Seems to work. I never got invited on that show. Donald Trump has admitted he's not sure he's going to be able to make it to heaven. And we're talking about not the nightclub, the spiritual place. Even though he's ended 7 wars with 14 different countries, 15 if you include all the ones he's named. And then he might have ended this one. He's looking at the other one. Is this a humble brag? Is this saying like, I've ended wars, but I was a dog. It's got that kind of vibe, isn't it? Martin says, I live in a nice area. That wouldn't apnea. Okay. It's a bit of a stretch for a pun. But yeah, so Donald Trump reckons he's still not a good guy. The US president was quizzed about his efforts to broker peace. I've talked about this on a few places. For some reason, on the day of the ceasefire, no, actually, the day of the deal being signed, social media and I was on 5 Live, hopefully you tuned in. On 5 Live, everyone made it a discussion about what do you think of Donald Trump? That's not the topic, is it? Surely the question should be, what do you think of death and fighting in the Middle East? And if you're against that, strap in, enjoy it. Saint Donald, the patron saint of cheeseburgers. Martin says I'm doing my best here. It's Martin, I understand. I've struggled with today's show. It's because I've tried to do 2 podcasts today, and I had a flat tire. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot. Harrods playing it safe. I've only got a few stories left. Let's enjoy this one. Posh store Harrods is giving shoppers logo-free carrier bags to stop them from getting mugged. You know, if you want a logo-free, if you want a bag that doesn't say Harrods on it, have you thought of going to not Harrods? Because that way you'll save money and you wouldn't get mugged for going to... The whole thing of going to Harrods was to get the bag for life, wasn't it? And then you use your Harrods bag when you're down Aldi. What kind of a twisted world do we now live in where people are going with their Aldi bags to Harrods? Kind of a inverted snobbery thing is this? Customers have had their watches ripped from their wrists in the street. Well, that's how good your watch is. Do you think criminals are looking at them and going, they've got a Harrods bag, I'm going to nick their watch? Because again, maybe I got the hangover from the 80s, but if you see someone with a Harrods bag, you think they went to Harrods once, probably 5 years ago. They've probably got a terrible cheap watch because they're the kind of person who has a Harrods bag for life. Yeah, no, I think I'm right about that one. Now they've got anonymized bags. That's what they call them. Can you see that bit down there? Anonymized. Do you mean just one without a logo on it? Have I told you my theory? You should always take a bag not of that shop into the shop. So I'm really good for bag for life. In fact, I can't reach them without getting out my seat, and then you'd see what boxer shorts I've got on. No, I do have jeans on today. But my bag, screw it. I'm not plugged into the headphones. Stay there. Back in a sec. Over here is where I keep my bags for life. Oh no, I've just got my flaxseed. Oh. Okay. Got my bags for life here. Normally they're folded. And we just have time to show you how to fold. So, you've got to flatten the bad boy down, try and get all the air out of it. And that is why all your folds will be longitudinal, not lateral. Normally I do this on a table, but you start off with the fold in the middle, like this, which then means you can flatten all the air out of it. Like this. And then the other one, you go, again, same, down there, so all the air can come out. Then, in half, into thirds. If you do this on a table, it's a lot neater. And then you just twist, right? Twist this like this. And then your bag for life won't open itself up and is basically pocket shaped, right? So I'm an expert when it comes to bags for life. If you'd like a longer instructional video on how to do this, I should be putting one on YouTube. Of course, this is how I make my money. But always take the wrong shop's one into the shop, because when you're unfurling, I've accidentally beeped it before, and it's 30p gone in it. Because I ain't going to get the person over to try and argue with them. Oh, no, this is my bag for life and it's beeped. It's my you end up paying the 30p just because no one, I ain't got that much time. But if you take the wrong shop one into the shop, beep. Yeah. Twice I've come up with good advice on today's show, and even I'm shocked about it. How in the name of God did anyone marry you? What happened there? What have I done? Is this what you're doing on your OnlyFans? Says Martin. Yeah. Why do I watch me fold things neatly? What do you mean? That fits in a pocket. It doesn't take up any space. I went to Harrods once, and all I got was a cheap bag that is definitely not got anything worth mugging. That's what it says on the side, does it? And, well, Martin's laughing at the fact that now we can't believe that someone married me. Well, I have other charms. Also, biological clocks happen, and I'm over 6 foot. And I think that's basically it. Timing and height are the two things that landed me the deal. OnlyFolds, suggests Martin. I'm not incredibly sure that should be my username. Because if you subscribe to a channel called OnlyFolds, you're going to be disappointed. I don't know what you'd be into, but whatever it is, you ain't going to get it from me. Nope. Steve's got bagged for life by his wife, says Proper Memes. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I think the strapline of like inner flap would work for OnlyFolds. But again, you wouldn't be getting that from me. A couple of stories left. I've got to hurry up, actually. Oh, we've done half an hour. I've been interviewed at 1 o'clock. Not for a job or by the police. It's amazing. For a book. Flight chiefs have given the green light to robot pilots. The Federal Aviation Administration has given reliable robotics. Oh, come on, don't fall for that. Just because a company calls itself Reliable Robotics. I could call myself OnlyFolds on that website, and I would not be delivering on the promise. It's got permission to run entire flights on autopilot with no human input. Look, don't do that. British Airways pilots already get drunk enough when they've got a bit of flying to do. Don't let them have Kit from Knight Rider flying the darn thing. The first US bot test flights have already happened. Okay, the pilot-free version complete. No, this seems like a bad idea. Because when the robots turn against us, now you've given them aerial superiority. It's like these people have never seen a film. And 2 stories. What's this? Inner flap, says Martin. No, yeah, in a flap or inner flap. Because there are 2. The Majora and the... No, let's not get it. It's not a medical one, is it? Celeb smack ban plea. Is it just the way I read out the headlines, or do they not make sense to anyone? Sir Michael Caine and Alan Shearer have called for a ban on smacking. Interesting. They are among the famous names and campaigners who have signed a letter to the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, handed to Downing Street. The letter stated that an outdated and damaging defence in the law still allows a parent. It's down there. It's the first mention of smacking kids is what they're talking about. They could just mean smacking. Do you know what I mean? He's a big man, but he's out of shape. No, other way around. For him, it's a full-time job. For the kids, it's a big kid, but he's out of shape. For him, it's a full-time job. So they reckon it's they should stop it. No word on Stan Collimore's take on this. That would be a cheeky sign-up, wouldn't it? But there we go. Again, if you were going to hit your kids, I'm not in favour of it. I've got 2 kids now, and I've learnt you really don't need to. And looking back, I wish no one had on me. I know the trope is to say I was hit as a kid, never did me any harm. I don't know. The jury's out on that, isn't it? But I've realised you don't need to smack your kids. You can mentally torture them instead. It's very good. Plus, also, I don't think anyone's going to smack their kids and they're like, Alan Shearer says he's not in favour of it. That's the thing that stopped me. Can I not smack my lips, says Martin. Smack my lips up. I do that too much. I listen back to the audio version and I'm terrible for that. Rod Stewart was no party animal back in the day and was always tucked up in bed nice and early. The 80-year-old singer did his first ever boozy all-nighter just a few days after he turned 40. Oh, what an idiot. And I'll tell you why. I played it the other way around. In my 20s, I was doing all-nighters. Because I was mainly doing radio and stand-up comedy and, to be fair, I also had a nighttime radio show. I used to do an overnight show in the weekdays on 102.7 Mercury FM. So staying up all night on the weekend was hardly a challenge. I'll give you that. It's not quite the same. All right. But I used to do all-nighters all the time in my 20s. In my 30s, I moved across to writing jokes for Heart Breakfast. Couldn't drink overnight because I was writing, so I just stopped drinking. And then I had a brief spell where I went back to it. And a hangover in your 40s, oh, you fool, man. You should have done it like me. My hangovers in my 20s were like half a bad morning. A hangover in your 40s, you're just making deals with the devil. Take me now. So Rod Stewart, no wonder he's got into whatever it is. Snooze FM, says Martin. Oi, that's harsh. People might not know you're talking about the radio show that I did. And I'll have you know it's a good radio show. I think that overnight radio show might have been some of my finest work. It's all been downhill since then. Listen, thank you very much for watching this. I'm off to do an interview. We do have to do the bit that we do at the end of the streaming podcast. Well, I would answer any questions, but there's no more in there. I was laughing at another post, says Martin. What's that good? Are you sure you weren't laughing at the fact that Joodles thinks... why? And the thing is, Joodle's a woman as well. I didn't realise. I got a message from Joodles. And she pointed out she's female, and I replied with the comment, send nudes. Did I? No, I don't think I think that one's in drafts. No, my point is, oh yeah, Proper Meme says you can still listen to Steve's show on BBC Sounds from 2017. They've still got the podcast, haven't they? Stephen Allen's Week. It was a big podcast. We were getting like 70,000 downloads a week or something crazy for the kind of tut that I was putting out there. It was doing really well. And yet, they still got rid of it. And one day I will write a book about what they said about why they got rid of it. It was doing really well, and it was the BBC, and they did not care about figures. But for a short time, it was replaced by a different podcast that would tell you their true motivation, and that did not do well. So, needless to say, I had the last laugh. Joodle says energy drink of the day. We'll do one on Thursday's show with a name like Joodles. I know, a lady, apparently. And with a name like Joodles, it feels you've probably got a hot take on the ceasefire. I'm not sure we can do that joke. Single Step says cheers. Single Step, thank you for being there in the comment section. Few things to do. I've got a plug. But Proper Memes has sent me some music to read out the plugs to. So get ready on the old table cam. Let's get rid of, here we are. And here is the music provided by Proper Memes. Oh, listen to this. Hi, smooth music. Well, here are some of the plugs of where you can see me this week. You can see me doing stand-up comedy. On Wednesday, I'll be performing in Camden at the Camden Head, a new material night, trying that bit about body count, see if that works. On Friday, I'll be in the Comedy Cellar, Bracknell. Great gig, worth seeing me there. Saturday in London at the Bearcat, can be a rough gig. I might not do well. In the world of media, Wednesday night, I'm on GB News reviewing the newspapers at 11 p.m. Patrick Christie's late edition. Might get to stay on for the Late Show Live, they don't tell you till the day. And Saturday morning, my first one reviewing the newspapers on GB News Breakfast. Let's see if they like my style. There could be a no. Also on Saturday, I'll be taking to the stage at the Battle of Ideas, debating the topic of, is politics funny? Well, not when I do it. You can find me on Substack at Mr. Stephen Allen, where I've written a couple of things this week. It's amazing. Or if you'd like to still give me money but not receive any of my written work, because you don't like things I say about sleep apnea, why not give me money on ko-fi.com/Mr. Stephen Allen, or at Mr. Stephen Allen. Audio, the audio version of the podcast and All Hit Radio weekdays from 1. There you go. Puts my let's get out of this. Puts my previously in the week. It costs how much in the shade. I've got to reload those jingles in. Martin provided some voiceover for some of the radio stuff we used to do on Time FM. I can get them all loaded back in. Proper Meme says it was a quick AI job and some editing on Logic. Then I whooped it into old Adobe Audition as well, just to kind of finish out that last bit. Thank you for that, though. It came out. I think it worked. I think I can. Who would have thought? After 20 years as a broadcaster, I can read over a top and bed. I can do a donut as well. Used to be able to. I can talk up an intro like an absolute fiend. Martin says we could interview you. We could actually. Do you know what? What you could do on Fridays, I'm still toying with what we do on the Friday live stream version of the podcast. If you want to make it more interview based, if if you've got questions, we can look at those on Friday's one. So get those ready. What else we got going on here? And slick, says Martin. Why, thanks. So we're all fully up to date on all of this stuff. Yeah, subscribe to wherever you find me on social media, at Mr. Stephen Allen, Substack, all those. And until tomorrow, we'll try and do another audio version. Thursday for another live stream. I'll try and do an energy drink of the day. Maybe. No promises. We'll see if Judel sends those pictures I asked for. But until then, have yourself a good one, and I think we're up to date. Let's do it.
Here comes the news with a twist and a grin. Stephen Allen diving in again. Almost daily, but always sharp. He'll hit your brain